Hi, welcome back. I'm Marissa or Murisa, however you want to pronounce it, both are right. And I share stories about things that I'm going through, and right now those topics surround mental health. Today's video is going to be about Wegovy, which is a weight loss medication, and that might not sound like it's related to mental health, but it is for me, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about that today. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Wegovy, what it is, why I chose to try it, the side effects that I experienced, and how I ended up in the ER on it, any changes I experienced, and then my closing thoughts on the medication. Wegovy is a prescription medication that's primarily used on overweight or obese adult patients, and it targets brain areas that are involved with appetite regulation. So essentially what it does is it leads to increased feelings of fullness, and then in turn leads to a lower calorie intake, which should then lead to weight loss. It's administered as an injection once a week. It comes in a pre-filled pen that's easy to inject on your own if you get the Wegovy prescription. If you get a compounded version of semaglutide, it might look different and you might have to do more, I'm not sure, but the prescribed version that I had was a pre-filled pen and really easy to inject. Common side effects include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation. I'm not a healthcare professional, so before you start, I would strongly suggest you talk to your healthcare provider to talk about any potential side effects that you might experience, because everyone's different and they might help alleviate some concerns you have about starting the medication. Wegovy is most effective when it's used alongside a healthy diet and an exercise program. It's not going to usually be a standalone solution for most people. It might, but you may lose muscle mass along the way, so it's really important to stay up with your physical fitness as well. And anyone who is curious about starting Wegovy should absolutely talk to their healthcare provider and get more information. So a little bit about my history. When I was growing up, I was always a little bit bigger than the average kids around me. I had very low self-esteem or no self-esteem or confidence. I was always very self-conscious about my body because when I was a young girl, it was trendy to be super skinny and have no curves, which was the exact opposite of how I looked. It was very discouraging, and I was always trying out new fad diets or an exercise program to try and lose weight. I was put on Slim Fast at a really young age to try and curb some calories, and everyone around me said that if I was bigger, I would not be liked. So I had to get smaller. In whatever ways possible, I had to get smaller. Throughout my teens and 20s, I tried everything to do that then. I tried all the different fads to try and get smaller so that I would be liked. Even after having kids, I continued seeking that validation externally and thinking that if I looked a certain way, I would be liked by others and that people would perceive me and view me in a way that I wanted them to view me just because I looked a certain way. That's the train of thought that I had back then. When something like Wegovy came out, I got super excited because it felt like there's finally an opportunity for me to also look a certain way and for me to finally, wear the pants that haven't fit in a few years and whatnot, and I just couldn't wait to get my hands on it. So I consulted with an online doctor for my prescription. My insurance covered it at the time, and it only took a few hours after I talked with a doctor. And once all of that went through and my insurance went through, it only took a few hours from them submitting it to the pharmacy filling it. My first dose started at 0.25 milligrams, and it was administered once a week as an injection, and usually it was the same day every week for 4 weeks. Some people stay on the same dose for a few extra weeks just to kind of get used to it or to get used to the side effects, but I felt like my side effects aligned with the label and I wasn't too concerned, so I just continued going up in dose per the doctor's recommendation. So I had very low energy, nausea, vomiting, at any dose that I was at. So every 4 weeks I went up and I continued increasing and experiencing the same symptoms on all the doses. After the 0.25 milligram, it went up to 0.25 milligram, then to 1 milligram, 1.7, and then 2.4 milligrams. I was on the 2.4 milligram dose for about 5 months. The initial side effects felt bearable enough, and they were the same as all the previous doses. I had low energy, nausea, vomiting, nothing out of the ordinary. It became unbearable when I experienced extreme vomiting to the point that it was causing body aches, and the body aches were then causing panic attacks because I have a pretty low stress tolerance, and it felt like the more I stressed out about what was happening and why it was happening, the worse I was starting to feel. During the week, I am the primary parent to our 2 kids, and my husband was gone for work at the time, so I had to figure out a way and manage how to get them off to school and feeling the way that I was feeling. It was not great. So after a night and day of not sleeping and just tossing and turning all night due to the vomiting, my gut feeling told me to go to the ER. I called them, I found out there was about an hour wait, and I had to figure out a way to get my kids to school and then get myself to the ER. So I did just that. Luckily I had some neighbors that were able to help me out with my kids. So thankful for them. And then I drove myself there. I was feeling so weak at this point that when the ER took me in, I don't even think I had to wait much longer. I was there for maybe 5 minutes before they finally pulled me in the back and started to figure out what was wrong with me. I was so thankful to be seen so quickly because I was struggling. I almost immediately got an IV with fluids, and they ran some tests on me. And it turns out that all that dehydration I was experiencing caused a condition called hypokalemia, which is something where the potassium levels in the blood are lower than normal. And potassium is an essential electrolyte that plays a vital role in muscle function, nerve conduction, and heart rhythm. The ER doctor then advised me to not continue the medication, and I followed his advice because I was really scared at this point. Instead of focusing on the medication and the shots and what I could do to try and fix the way I look, I focused on abundance, and I practiced increasing my protein, increasing my water intake and steps, and general activity level. I practiced these on Wegovy too, but unfortunately for me, it did not help me lose any significant amount of weight. The main reason is that I don't think I'm the right candidate for it, to be honest with you. I have friends that have been on it, and they have had great results, and it's done wonders for others, while other methods did not work for them, and it did not work for me, unfortunately. And that's okay. While on it, I learned to focus my energy on a healthy lifestyle, eating balanced nutrition, living less stressed, or at least learning how to manage my stress better. And I've continued searching for the balance in all areas of my life. I'm also practicing praising myself for the little wins and the little changes that I have implemented, because they add up over time. Instead of putting myself down for a number on the scale, I'm learning to love myself the way that I am and to appreciate what my body can do instead of focusing on things that I would like to change about it. If we can't change how we look, we can at least change how we view ourselves, so we can change our outlook on ourselves instead. If you're considering Wegovy, talk to your healthcare provider. I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not going to steer you in one direction or another. It's not for me to do. I can only share my experience, which is what I did here, and my experience wasn't the greatest, but that doesn't mean that yours won't be, and everyone reacts to everything differently. So if it's something that you want to try out, talk to your doctor. I urge you to steer your lifestyle into a healthy direction. So whether you're on Wegovy or not, you are on the right track regardless. And you might be wondering why I'm even talking about this, because I have been focusing more on mental health, but in my opinion, physical and mental health are very intertwined. They influence each other in very significant ways. Because when we experience physical health changes, like weight gain or chronic illness, it can also lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, or low self-esteem. And I've talked about before too that mental health issues can manifest physically. They can affect our energy levels, our appetites, and our motivation to engage in actual healthy behaviors. If we are focused on mindfulness and managing our stress levels, I do believe that we can help improve our physical health outcomes, whether or not on Wegovy. And we can also try to find more balance that way too. I hope that this video helped you in some way or another. Mostly I do these for me so that I can keep track of my journey and know how far I've come on my mental health and physical health maybe, but mostly mental health. And if it happens to help someone along the way, that's great. That would be a bonus. Thank you so much for watching or listening today. I really do appreciate your time. Please subscribe and like if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. I hope you all take care of yourselves. Bye.